May I introduce you to some new friends that I've just made? Let's give a warm DragonCon 32-year anniversary welcome to the fantastic Mr. Ian Ziering. The very handsome does not want to talk about Napoleon Dynamite or Blades of Glory. The very handsome John Heater. Always have deep discussions about pronunciations of names, because you never know. The very lovely Tamsin McDonough, please. And this guy that I just bumped into, and I was like, hey, wanna hang out for an hour? He said, sure, Mr. Nick Frost. So cool, right? Isn't this awesome? There are just as many first-timers in the audience as there are on this panel, so thanks for joining us for your first DragonCon.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, America.
So, to start things off, before we move to Q&A, I do want to point out there's the very handsome Lou and the very handsome Cody on these sides of the aisle. So please line up behind them if you have questions for anyone on the panel. But I first want to give a nice little introduction. Let them talk a little bit about themselves. I know it's hard for actors to talk about themselves. I understand it's a struggle. I want you to reach deep into your talent pool. So maybe tell us a little bit about you, and maybe some things that you've enjoyed. And picture the patch stuff. Can I do it?
Oh, do you want it on? Okay, yeah. I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Right, I was just like, it's choking. Because we're the only ones that were wearing them. So they're small.
Oh.
You just want to be like us.
Yeah, I want to be cool like you guys. You guys are the ultimate in cool. So we can go down the table. Ian, would you like to introduce yourself and maybe a little bit about your prolific career?
Okay, hi everybody. My name's Ian Ziering. I grew up in West Orange, New Jersey. Started acting as class clown in 4th grade, but then turned it into a professional career at 12. Started modeling in TV commercials, and one thing led to another. Soap operas, and then what else? 90210.
Oh, I've heard that.
Some other things along the way, blah, 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 Sharknado. Producing a movie next for Sci-Fi, and tossing up the title. It's either going to be Zombie Tidal Wave or Zombie Tsunami. Which do you like? Zombie Tsunami, okay. Look for that next year on Sci-Fi.
John?
Talking about myself, I mean, I think some people may know who I am, I don't really care. So I'll just tell, I have a twin brother, so I'll just tell you about him. He did everything I did up until we were about 25, and then I got famous and he did not. He has scars on his wrist to prove. Just kidding. No, he's great. He's very honest, and when people ask him if he's me, because he's identical twin, I didn't make that clear. He just says, no, I'm not him, and he'll sign pictures anyways with his name. And they get all pissed, and then they're all like, John's a jerk. Yeah, I grew up, and there's not much else to say. You could Wikipedia everything else.
Yeah.
I love Oregon. I grew up in Oregon, and this is my first time wearing a bolo tie. I'm testing out, it's a test run. So, yeah, you can sign a little ballot on your way out. Yes or no, never again. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here, John. Tamsin?
I may be the only Canadian in the bunch. Any Canadians out there?
You.
Two. Hey.
I'm just
We may be having all you guys eventually. So be nice to the Canadians.
True story. story. I got married in Canada. Yeah, I got married in Victoria on Vancouver Island at the.
Does that make you
an
legal resident?
Right. Well, when my husband and I got our marriage license, they were like, "You have to live here for 2 years if you ever want a divorce." And I was like, "Well, if we moved up here, I don't think we would divorce. We'd just fall in love with each other if it ever came to it." Because Canada is so beautiful. Has anybody been? Yeah, it's so beautiful. We went up to Whistler, went to the Okanagan, went to some wine country. It was very, very lovely. So nice.
I feel like I'm falling in love with you just listening to your story.
You heard it here first. I love this. So Tannis, tell us a little bit about.
So actually, I'm from Vancouver, which is near Victoria. But I live in Toronto now because for some reason I seem to like extreme heat and extreme cold. I don't know why. Yeah, started in Vancouver. I think is shoot number 3 and whatever Christmas special was going on.
Sure.
I just took over the stage, really. Yeah, so then did it in university because I really didn't want to get my degree, but you have to get it. Your parents will kill you otherwise. So did a little bit of acting and continued on, and now I'm on Killjoys. And I'm a spaceship, Mom. So.
And this guy.
Hello, my name is Nick Frost. I'm a 46-year-old Aries. I have a classical dancer's body, 6 inches cut. It's a lie. I just kind of fell into this job and liked it, so they let me stay. That's it. So thanks for having me.
Very cool.
I'm always amazed when you let me into America because of what I did when I was a younger man.
Oh, it's going to be a good hour, ladies and gentlemen. I feel it. Awesome. So the reason why I wanted you guys to do that is because some of you have just met each other for the first time and certainly aren't working on projects together that at least the audience knows. So you have fans scattered throughout that maybe didn't know who everyone was up on the panel. So just wanted a chance for everybody to kind of take a peek into who you are. So I'm glad that you guys indulged me. I do appreciate it. Yeah. No problem. Do we have a first question? Lou, do you have one behind you? Somebody's on his knees. Hey. Oh, sorry. It's a daytime program. I apologize.
Hi, my question's for Nick. Recently, there was some rumors going around with Danny Boyle dropping out of the new Bond film that they might be looking at Edgar. And I was curious if he got the job and were to give you and Simon a call to do something, what would you like to do in a Bond film?
Okay, so I've always wanted to be, and the answer would be absolutely yes. But my dream, I've always wanted to be a Bond villain, and my look would be tiny gold speedos, sliders, and I'd have a massive scar, and I'd have a hyena on a chain. Or what are those really dangerous monkeys? All of them. Like a baboon, yeah. With the ones with the blue, just walking around covered in gold, just with a big baboon in gold speedos. That's what I want to be.
I can't possibly fathom how anybody could follow that kind of desire. But that would be kind of cool. Have any of you ever dreamed of being in a James Bond film?
Not to that degree.
Right.
Does your character have a name? I feel like you have it figured out.
Oh, I don't know.
I figured out 2 names because they've not had any gingers in James Bond. So I figured I need to break through that wall. So I have them set up. So there's Scarlet Fever.
Yeah.
And there's Hell in Bed for the good girl.
So you have thought this?
No, not at all. Just right off the top of my head. Yeah.
Scarlet Fever is kind of obvious, but
Yeah.
Or Ginger Snaps.
Ginger snaps. Then everything's been done.
No, it's kind of been done.
So.
John, how about yourself? Dreamed of being in a Bond film?
the Bond film? Yeah, sure.
My brother could do.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah. 007s or something. And, no, I've always wanted to be in an action film. It'd be rad to hold a gun. I mean, just a real gun, whatever. Just cool to hold. But they probably wouldn't be real stuff. So anyways, yeah, that would be great. And I don't think I'd be the Bond. I think I'd be like, you know, a Bond girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just, you know, like.
Or Moneypenny, just rolling your eyes at your desk, like, oh my god, you're
I'd love
bored.
to be a henchman number 3 who, like, you keep seeing him get shot, but then he's like in the next scene. His time is getting worse, like a limp in this one. And he's got like a cast. He's like, I'm making it, man. These are my dreams.
Temp agency didn't have any more.
Yeah, they're just like, look, he's not dead yet. He's still willing to keep going.
Everyone else is on the Avengers set, so.
Thanks for reminding me.
Ian, how about yourself? Any James Bond fantasies?
Yeah, that's like my favorite movie franchise of all time. I used to watch them when I was a little kid, and Sean Connery, and Roger Moore, and Daniel Craig. And, I can't see it getting any better than Daniel Craig. He's just the best Bond I've ever seen. I mean, this is my personal opinion, but Casino Royale was probably one of the best action movies James Bond has ever lived through. Just amazing. And if they're casting,
Ava Green.
hell yeah. Oh my God.
So amazing.
They probably never go with me. Maybe I'm aging out. I don't know. But man, would I love to be James Bond.
You're what, 35, 36?
Yeah. That's right.
I know how to talk to actors.
Sean Connery was in his 50s when he started,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Oh, there's hope then.
At least he looked it.
Cody, do you have someone with you?
Hey, you hear me? Okay, so another question for the next, sorry to not punish you. So two things before I start. I've just been drinking lager out of the paper bag. And also, we have ignored mildly stalky tweets for the last 24 hours. But that aside, so I'm British, I'm here, you're here. So
I'm not kissing you.
That's where this is going.
That's all.
He was talking about twinks or something. Yeah.
Yeah, tweets, you know. So I'm British, it'd be remiss of me not to ask, will there ever be a third season of Hyperdrive?
No, there'll never be any more. I don't think I could fit in those costumes. So I could remake them, sure, but no, there won't be a thing. I'm sorry. What's he doing?
He's like, okay, I'm done. Thanks, fine. You're drinking beer in a bag?
Jay's coming in for that month, yes.
Right. Until the Americans grab it and redo it and screw it all up. That'd be great. Can't have it. Oh, well, there's the answer to that. Lou, who you got? Nobody has any questions at all, really, because we'll just talk. Oh, she's got a hula hoop. She's going to do tricks. Let's go, girl.
Well, I can do tricks. The sharks throw it off balance.
Ah,
Which I
fair.
think gives away who this is for. But yes,
Aw.
so this is for Ian. I actually just want to say thank you for embracing all that is Sharknado. Because the very first original, I made this ridiculous outfit, and it led me to the man that I love today. And so
That's awesome.
Thank you for embracing it. I plan to retire it. It's got crunchy over 6 years. But thank you for embracing that ridiculousness and sticking with it.
You know, it's fans like you that go to that extra mile that make doing these crazy cockamamie movies so much more than just a job. I mean, I was at a booth today and some kid came up to me wearing a Sharknado. It's so rewarding. The give back has been so much bigger, so much grander than anything I've ever done before. It's been an incredible experience for me, but the give back is overwhelming when I see people like you that are wearing crunchy outfits for 7 years. It's really amazing. And that you've met your husband. Clearly, you guys belong together. Happy to be a part of that.
That's definitely a love story you only hear at Dragon Con. It's awesome.
Question mark?
Well, are you saying that hoop is for Ian? Oh, she's not giving it to you. I thought you said this was for him. I'm so sorry.
I've jumped through enough hoops to make those movies.
Oh,
that's
see.
awesome.
That's great. Awesome.
What's that shark saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Sharknado movies, John, we recycle the background artists. They get their legs chewed off in the front scenes, and they're still running through the background.
Those poor guys. I got the screen time.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, this is for Steve.
There's a Steve up here.
Mr. 90210.
Oh.
Oh, that guy.
He's got a name, it's Ian.
I've been called worse. I'll deal with it. Let's go.
So with all the remakes and the comebacks, would there be a reunion show for 90210?
I'm not sure there's a market for it. What do you think?
A market for a 90210
So for
reunion?
two
No
people.
way.
You know, they're talking about it. They really are. It's not really much more than talk. It's funny because I tried to produce a dinner at Ions. I was going to have all my former castmates. It was going to be September 10th, 2010, which was it was going to be September 2nd, 90210.
Right.
And I couldn't get any of the networks to do it. Like, really? But now with all these reboots that are going on, it's, I think, honestly, it's probably just a matter of time before you see us all get together and do something, some type of iteration.
Wasn't there a breakfast at Kelly's?
No, that was breakfast at Tiffany's. No.
What if you're bad at knowledge? They stole my idea.
Bullshit, man. No, who stole that idea?
So just building on more of your question, Ian, do you feel that everyone would be ready to listen to a reunion idea? Do you think the cast?
Yeah, there's quite a clamoring going on right now. I mean, Murphy Brown, Magnum PI, 90210. I think it's just a matter of time. Here's to hoping.
It's a great question. Yes, sir.
First time on mic, so
Don't mess it up.
okay.
Too late. I'm just kidding. It's
we're
fine.
doing. Okay. Actually, my question is for Constable Benny Baltabon.
Guessing that's Nick as well.
That's my alter ego. That's my alter ego on Grindr.
I'm sorry, you mispronounced scruff.
4 inches cut. After you, sir. Sorry.
First off, are you going to catch the West Ham game tomorrow?
West Ham is a football team that I support, and they're the worst football team in the world, and it makes me sad every week.
But they're playing the Wolves. They have a chance.
They're terrible, and it never gets any better. Never gets any better. And I know that there'll be a time, at least once a week, where I shut myself into the toilet and I really bite hard on a toilet roll to stop me from uttering out a scream that would upset my child. I have a 7-year-old son, and he came to me one day and he said, "I think I'd like to support Chelsea." And even though it killed me inside, there was part of me that said, "Okay, anything so you're not going to be this sad every week." Yeah, thanks. I don't know if you noticed, but as you were asking your question, I kept doing this, somehow thinking that I could hear better. I don't do these things often. Thank you for your question.
No, that was awesome. Thank you.
You're supposed to sit down normally.
Yes,
I know, I get it's your first time.
That's a two-part.
you're doing great.
No, the other. Given the choice, Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
I shouldn't have to choose. Let's just do a double bill and enjoy it.
Nice. You did really well for the first time on the mic.
You did really great.
Congratulations, Sarah. You have mastered an audio piece that amplifies your speaking voice. Good job. Next question, Cody.
Hi, my name is Betty, and I have a question for Nick. So in Hot Fuzz and also in Shaun of the Dead, you get to play sort of these lovable goofballs, but one thing I really loved about
Sure.
one thing about The World's End that I really loved is you got to play more of like the straight man, and I was going to ask you which sort of did you end up having more fun with? Because even though in the beginning of The World's End you're like trying to be very, very serious to your character, it does seem like there's a point where he kind of lets go, and I'm just curious about how that is with acting.
It's a serious question.
You were cute and lovable, but let's get deep and philosophical. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I think once we're in the pub and we've had the first fight in the toilet, and then I do all those shots. At that point, I think emotionally, I'm open to anything. I think after not drinking for like 20 years, he goes a bit mad at that point, and you know, he thinks, well, fuck it, why not? You know, I think it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult because it's not like we sit around and just have a laugh all the time. I mean, our budgets are kind of small, and the time we have to shoot is really finite. You know, so really, if there's any kind of mucking about or any fun, and Edgar tends to come down really hard on it, which is kind of annoying because you'll just hear his voice. Come on, guys, from behind the monitor, and you think, fuck off, Edgar. For 15 years, can't we just have fun for 5 minutes? But you know, you're hanging out with a group of mates, making a film. It's great. You know, it's a good laugh. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, I want to build on what you were answering about having a laugh. Yes. Turn up his hearing aid, Alma. Okay. So when on set and you have those moments where you just kind of chum it up a bit, get a good laugh, and the directors are like, if these people do not get this shot, I'm going to kill them. Do any of you have any moments from any film or television productions that you've done where the cast just completely was not having a day where they could focus and it was driving all of the crew mad? I love hearing those kinds of stories. Those are super fun. Nobody has one of those stories?
I mean, it's kind of it's the good and the bad. They want the cast to get along. I think there's probably a ton of productions out there where, you know, maybe as soon as, you know, the director says cut, they go off to their trailers, and people want that camaraderie. I mean, and I think the crew and the producers want us, it's their dream that actors get along.
Right.
But there have been many times where I don't know, I've never gotten to feel that they got too annoyed.
Sure.
I've worked on some films where we had a blast, and we just get talking and we're messing around, and they're kind of like, all right, come on. And you know, they're trying to, because it's like, you know, parents of seeing their kids get along. This is what you want. You want the siblings to get along, but then, look, seriously, guys, we have to go.
Right.
And it's kind of that feeling. They don't want to seem annoyed because they're like, but we are on a schedule, so let's go.
But that makes it worse too, I find. You know what I mean? Because then when you realise you can't, you're not allowed to laugh when someone's mad, then you can't really help it, and then it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's a good problem to have, I think.
That's I just asked because it came to mind. I was a casting director for several years, and I worked on a television show called Drop Dead Diva. And yeah, really? I mean, that's great. Yeah, woo! And there was a recurring character played by Rosie O'Donnell.
Set that up, man. You kind of paused.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. So she was one of those people that, in between takes, was quite theatrical and wanted music playing and would just go and dance and sing and stuff, and that would drive the poor little guest director for each episode just mad because he'd be like, if she doesn't get it, stop. Because she was playing like a stoic judge that kind of had like a, you know, big stretch for her. But like, it would just be funny to watch like on set, and anytime that she was scheduled to work, I would be like, this is gonna be a long day for my extras. And that's okay, but it just kind of reminded me of that, those moments where somebody's, you know, kind of cutting up and the crew is getting a little upset.
Yeah.
I love those days, because sometimes it's nice to stick it back to them. And Jameson's like, no, I feel great on my show every day. It's wonderful.
The Killjoys leads are pretty funny. They're two of them are musical theater people,
Sure.
so they tend to sing, and not just sing, but actually make up songs as they're going along.
Oh, cool.
That they put very specific lyrics to, and so they'll see each other the next day, and they'll be like, okay, so what did we have with the second line about cowboys wearing chaps with lipstick?
Yes.
And then they would continue on with these ridiculous songs. I can't even remember some of them now, but it was really fun.
Which of the Ashmore boys do you have on your show? Is it Sean or Aaron? Aaron Ashmore. The good one.
Yeah. I haven't met Sean. I don't know. Maybe he's better.
Awesome.
Yes, I have Aaron, but Aaron's not so musical, so he and I have no.
That was brilliant. Lin-Manuel is in the audience and he's just written that down to follow up to Hamilton. You have a question over here, Lou? Oh, The Handmaid's Tale. Speaking of joy.
So this question is for John. Napoleon Dynamite is one of those movies that when you're clicking through the channels and you see it on, you just have to stop and watch a few scenes. And it's got to the point that my 3 children, age 20-something down to 13, have memorized your awesome dance moves. My question is, was that choreographed or was that something that you just improvised because you're so incredibly smooth?
It's the latter. Your words, Melvin. Yeah, it was just freestyle. Like because I don't know choreography, and we were a small film, so we didn't know. I think Jared, who wrote and directed the film, he was like, "Hey John, I hear you like to boogie." I was like, "Yeah, when I'm alone in my apartment, naked after a shower." That really was like the best time I could practice moves. But and he's like, "Yeah, well, we don't have a choreographer, so I don't know if you want to work." He waited till the end of the production. It was like one of the last things we shot. I was like, "Oh crap, I don't know what to do." So I kept thinking and then putting it off and thinking and putting it off. I was like, "Oh, I'll just play some cool music and I'll dance, and then just take the best bits of each take, and then we'll put it together." And, yeah. So yeah, I get it all the time. People who love like, "Hey, do you still remember the dance?" Or they try to remember the dance, and I try to tell people, no, you guys, the Napoleon dance is dancing from your heart. Which translates to probably making it a little crappy, not being that great unless you're a professional dancer. Then it's not really in the spirit of Napoleon. Can
I ask a follow-up on that?
Please do.
When you shot the dance, was that played?
It was actually. We didn't know. We didn't have the rights to any music yet, so we were like, we both love Jamiroquai, so we were like, okay. I think it was 2 Jamiroquai songs and then a Michael Jackson song, of course. And it was like doing a love scene because I made it a closed set. Like nobody. Right. I wouldn't know what a love scene is like anyways, but it's the closest thing I've had. It's making love to myself pretty much. After each time I was like heaving and dry heaving like barfing. That's what it would be like. My actors would do that in a love scene. Like, oh, I had to kiss him.
I'm sorry, but if ever I watch a film where there's a scene where there's lots of people dancing at a nightclub and the 2 main actors are talking, just bear in mind when they shot that there was no music playing. It's just weird because when you're shooting it, you have to talk a bit louder too. So when they put the music in it seems like you're listening to music at the time, which is always weird. And then you can just hear extras' feet shuffling around, trying to do the dialogue in the club. So yeah, next time you're watching a thing and it's set at a nightclub and they're dancing, remember there's no music playing.
Ruining everything.
Maybe they should know. I need to know.
Well, that's a great question because I want to, like, Ian, when you're acting, has there ever been something that was coming up in a script where you're like, I'm a little uncomfortable, I'm not sure if I'm going to be ready for that? Anything that ever just challenged you where you're like, I'm not ready to do this quite yet?
Yeah, quite a bit with these Sharknado movies that we've done. Every day. The script would change. The last Sharknado 6, the last 3 days, I got 39 pages of sides.
Are you serious?
So big that Staples didn't hold it. They had a Brad. Sides are the day's work. Basically, it's the scenes that you're shooting, and major motion pictures. You've got a lot of time for quality content. So there's maybe 6-7 pages of dialogue, whatever it is. 39 pages where we had to take a piece from this, redo this scene, whatever. And we had this one scene in Sharknado 6. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie yet. If you haven't, sorry. It takes place out on in an ocean, and we're filming the middle of winter in Romania. So we get to the boat, and it's a frozen lake, because that's just the way they roll in Romania in the middle of winter. Everything's frozen. And the dialogue just didn't, it was just a really difficult day. And they were asking me to do things that, it just didn't make sense, even in the fictitious world. I couldn't stretch my mind enough to suspend the reality of it. Even in that world, like, yeah, it didn't make sense even in that world, you know? And it was just very challenging. And the director was like, you just need to say it. And then they throw all this stupid stuff at me where it's like you have to say, let's do the time warp again. And I'm like, from Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror, sure.
So we're going through the time warp, and I have to, and it just, you know, acting is the ability to act naturally in imaginary circumstances. And I just didn't have the depth as an actor to sell that.
But Ian, it's just a jump to the left.
You know, so finally I just threw out, let's do the time warp again. And it fell flat. But like, it should have been, well, let's do the time warp again. Something like that. Just to give a little homage to that. It's just, it was a fight, it was a struggle. The whole movie's a struggle. I'm sorry. It's over. It's over. Sorry. Number 6 is over.
6 is over.
Number 6, yeah. People have an incredible appetite for these kind of schlocky movies. Dying to do a big budget movie. Dying. Just like to. What's it like to have a craft service table with something more than Cheetos? Anything. It's just. See how the other half lives. Making these crazy movies in Bulgaria in the middle of winter, freezing, wearing like jeans. Having these long walk and talks where I get to the camera and I have to say something, I'm like, it's so cold.
Your lips are stuck to your teeth?
I couldn't even, like, it was so cold, I couldn't walk. Like, we do these long walk and talks and I have to stop. They put a hair blower on my face just to warm up my cheeks so I could say, there's sharks coming. When you're watching Sharknadoes, there are leaf blowers on our face. Dubbed every line in that movie because, you know, like the scenes where there's dancing and people are talking. You can't have that. So if you actually heard the dialogue shooting these movies, you would hear, like, your gardeners blowing. I can't stop. Stop for 1 second. Blow me down here. On your face. Yeah, blow me down here. Not my face. Talking about Sharknado windstorms, people. No,
I'm so glad you came to my last Tony Lately panel. This is the best.
It's tough. Anyway.
Thank you for picking up the pieces and being able to just march through those frozen lakes in Romania.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question. Cody, it's to you.
Hi, our question's for Tamsin. My mom and I are pretty big fans of Grey Gardens, and we were wondering what's your favorite moment from filming that?
I had to teach Drew Barrymore to do runway. So it's, you want me to do what? You want me to tell her she's no good and teach her how to do it. And no one else around just because she was having some issues at the time. And so I was like, right, one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and you don't think I'm gonna get fired. So I just, I pushed through and just said, you know what, we can maybe try. She had on this huge full-length fur coat, and she's, I don't know, 5'2".
Right.
And I'm 5'9". And she's wearing still these heels, and I'm wearing kitten heels, and she put on the huge fur-length coat, and I had this little tiny one, and she walked like this. And didn't realize that she just looks like a Chewy. walking through the show. And so I just said, you know what, you have such a great body, you know, pull your hands back and do this kind of thing. And so she finally, much better. She was just lovely about it, but I was so terrified that I was going to get fired for having to say, excuse me, huge movie star, could you not do that? So, but she was absolutely lovely and so sweet to deal with.
Yeah, and Jessica Lange, great talent in that film.
She was, I didn't get to work with her, she wasn't in my scenes, but yeah, that was probably why Drew was a little antsy, you know, dealing with those scenes were so heavy and so difficult. It was a hard film on everybody.
Well, it's a dark take on like what happens to people that are kind of cast aside or forgotten, and the mental health problems that we have.
Yeah.
The more you know. That's great. Great question. Thank you for bringing that. Whoever said that. Yeah. How about you over here, Lou?
Thanks. This one's for Nick.
Time's up. No, just kidding. What's going on?
Oh,
don't give up.
Oh, just ask anything, just even general knowledge.
Hey, if you write it on a piece of paper and give it to Lou, he'll read it for you. Is that cool? Can somebody give him a pen and paper, let him write his question down? I want it to get answered.
Yes.
All right. Do it. All right.
So, my question's for John. So, John, ever since Napoleon Dynamite, you've launched into like a huge catalog of stuff that you've worked on. Everything from some really cool voice acting, stuff like Legend of Korra, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stuff that we've all seen. Did you envision when you started way back then, going into all these different things? If not, like, you know, how do you then adjust to all these, like, this wide variety of roles that you kind of jumped into, including voice work over the last few years?
I didn't know anything like when I started out. Napoleon was the first film I shot that I acted in. I was in college, and it was just kind of like, it was because of Napoleon really that opened the door, and it was kind of good timing too, because I was just finishing up college and I was planning on going to LA anyways. I was an animation student, so I loved animation, and I didn't know, hey, if I can be behind the microphone or in front of the microphone. I mean, either way. And so, yeah, I didn't know it was going to happen, but I certainly was excited because I kind of understood how it worked on both sides. And being able to act and, you know, bring characters. I mean, all the time I spent in most of my years in college was bringing characters to life, but like puppetry and animation and that kind of thing. But then being able to do it on the other side with using voices, that was pretty cool.
Great question. Thank you. Cody, your turn.
My question is for Nick. I've really been enjoying watching your show Into the Badlands. And I'm just wondering, how much preparation did you have to do? Did you already have a background in martial arts, or?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. A bit, you know, I think a little bit. But I trained as a dancer when I did a film called Cuban Fury for 7 months. I trained to be a dancer. So dancing and fighting are a lot similar the way I do it. So the guys they have like a 5-week training period before we start shooting, but that is unpaid, so I think, fuck that. So I pretend that I'm really busy, and then I turn up for a day just to say hello to everyone. You know, the way that we shoot it, there aren't massive long choreographies, you know. All the guys that do it are from Hong Kong, they're all Jackie Chan's fight team, and they don't speak English, they speak Cantonese, and they all stand around shouting at each other, and from that comes 10 moves that you then learn right there and then, while they're lighting the shot, and then we shoot those 10 moves, and then we start all over again. And that's how they do it. So it's not like you're learning like a 5-minute fight for months, and then you have to do it, and you're terrified you're going to fuck it up, and you just do it bit by bit, and it feels great. It feels really easy to do, you know. And the stunt guys are the same guys we've been working with for like 3 seasons now, so there's a lot of trust. So, you know, just to go back to your original question, yeah, I drank. but not in any martial art. Thank you.
Thomas. Lou.
Hey, yeah, so this is more of a general question. What is the one project in your past, given that we're in an era of sequels or remakes, that you could revisit or you would like to do a sequel on?
Ooh. Sequels or remakes of any projects that you've worked on.
From Dusk Till Dawn! So, Night of the Living Ed. I think, I'm sorry guys, I'm just taking the lead here. It was mooted potentially that someone might do a series of Paul. And I think that would be pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
So I think out of everything, I think if we could hang out with Paul again, that would be pretty cool. Bye.
I tend to be TV most of the time, so every week. I
Yeah.
More. It's a series, exactly.
Every episode is a sequel from the story the day before. Yeah, that works.
Number one question I get asked is Napoleon 2, and unfortunately, there's no plans. We did a cartoon series back a number of years ago, and I had a blast doing that, and it was great because we could all be younger in the animated form, and still keep our voices. But everybody has their own idea for a sequel, and I think if we waited maybe another 10 years, we could see the dark side of Napoleon's sad life. And I think it'd be great. Yeah, I don't know. I think I get asked Blades of Glory a lot too, but that's not really, we kind of mind all the jokes that you can get from that concept. So it's either moving to another sport, which nothing really kind of, stands up to men's figure skating. It's hard. I think synchronized swimming would be cool, but
That would be fun.
It's all underwater. You can't hear it. It's not as sexy. But we'll be wet. I don't know.
I did a cartoon in the mid-90s called Biker Mice from Mars. Great. I got to work with Rob Paulson and Dorian Harewood and Brad Garrett, and every day that I would work with these guys, it would be butt gusting. Butt gusting? Gut busting. Not as thick as you drunk I am, I promise. Wow!
Podcast, that's like a different word for fart.
You'd have to do another podcast.
And I'd give everything to work with those guys again. It was so fun. I recall one day I'd walk in and Brad Garrett would say, "Ian, why do you look so sad?" Brad, what do you mean? I'm not sad. He's like, And we would go on, and he's like, "Ian, seriously, is everything okay?" "Man, I'm fine." And shortly after that, it's just, "Ian, show me on the dolly where the bad man ties me." Oh my God! It's just, who says things like that? Biker Mice from Mars was a very popular cartoon. I think that would be rebooted beautifully, but then the chance to work with those actors again, those comedians again, would just be riotous. Plus, you don't have to put makeup on. You don't have to memorize any lines. It's all right there in front of you. And it's great. They make dolls of you.
That was a great question. Thank you. Next question over here.
Hi, this question is for all of you. You've been all in a lot of memorable TV shows and movies. Have you ever kept any souvenirs from the sets you've been on?
Oh yeah. I have a jukebox from the Peach Pit that I took right off the last day we worked there. I grabbed it, and they're like, "Hi, where are you going with it?" I'm like, I'm going home. Right? We're not shooting in here anymore. We're done. We wrapped this scene. He's like, "Yeah, but we were gonna like." And I just like. I just left with the jukebox from yeah. into things. Yeah,
I should
Pete's been
watch
there several
the
hours.
show. I think I'm trying to think. I loved like the costumes in Blades of Glory was a lot of fun. But they didn't really. I got to keep the Tron. The final act of the film. There's an outfit that Will Ferrell and I wear where we kind of light up like Tron outfits, and that was really good. They let me keep that one, so that's been used many times when I don't have a good Halloween costume. Actually, I used it once, and then like a whole my brother and my brother's friend and the other friends keep borrowing it. So now I don't want to touch it because it's got 3 generations of sweat on it, just ingrained in there. But I got to keep that. That was really cool. And then I traded the original Vote for Pedro T-shirt for Golden Snitch. The first movie. Yeah, everybody's like, no way. So yeah, that was a waste. But then I found out there was 3 Golden Snitches from the first film. I was like, oh, I wanted one of a kind. I think Daniel Radcliffe kept the other 2. Inserted them in his scrotum, so it's not too far. Like Golden Snitch balls, you know?
We'll have to ask him if he's ever at Dragon Con. So, by the way, Johnny Gators, did you get 2 golden stitches? I think that would go well. Tamsin, anything that you've taken from?
Well, we're not quite done Killjoys, but I've been scouting things out. And
Yes.
Pictures. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back to that and that and Hannah. You've got some great boots, so.
Good call.
Yeah, nothing exciting yet.
Yeah, not much for me. Sometimes you look and think, oh, I'll have that, but then you get it home and it sits there for ages and you think, well, wait, you just throw it out.
Sure.
I keep clothes. I find buying and wearing human clothes very difficult. As a big man, it's a chore to buy clothes. It's nothing makes me feel sadder or fatter than having to try and buy clothes. So if I'm doing a show and there are clothes that my character wears, I'll probably always take them. The jeans that I wore for Paul, I've only just stopped wearing. So clothes. I did a film last year. As a human man, I've always wanted a grill, and I've never had a grill. But I played a character, and I said, hey, maybe this character would have a grill. So they had me a grill made. Oh, a good one. It was pretty cheap. Took a lot of the enamel off my incisors, but I kept that. I wore it quite a lot until my partner would say, hey, you look like a dick, hey, you shouldn't just wear the grill all the time. But I just couldn't stop wearing it. And I found that I've got a few more rings too, if I had all my rings on in my grill, no one bothered me, in a pub. It was amazing. So it was she made me throw it away.
That's so awesome.
I think next time I tell that story, it'll have an ending. So recap, close and grill.
Question.
This is a question for Nick. First, I want to say how much I enjoyed the cast commentary on Shaun of the Dead. Any Shaun of the Dead fans, if you haven't listened to the cast commentary, you're missing out. And I think one of the last things you said, Nick, was what a pleasure. And it was such a pleasure to listen to you guys. And I wanted to know if you could speak a little bit about the camaraderie that the cast had, and also maybe if you guys all might, obviously, you and Simon Pegg work together a lot, but maybe if other folks from the Spaced, Shaun of the Dead crew might work together.
Yeah, God, absolutely. I hope so. We've all been mates since we were 22. And obviously, I think friendships evolve, so they can never stay as they were when we were that, or when we were 26 or 30 or 35, you know, but what remains is the thing that's important, I think. And in that, you know, I might not talk to Simon face to face for 6 months, yet when he came to my house for the weekend, we're having a barbecue, and it's just like I saw him yesterday, you know, and that's what we enjoy. But I think people imagine that it's that all the time on set, you know. I think any set where it's just that is kind of impossible to work in. I think it gives us a shorthand in terms of, okay, so now it's time to work, you know. We share a sense of humour, but I think we also share a work ethic. And we all like working, you know, and we like hanging out, and I think Simon Pegg and I started a production company a year ago, so we got a bunch of really kind of cool things that we're trying to get made and trying to write. So yeah, definitely we're going to work again, but it's just finding that cool thing that won't be the Cornetto trilogy, but will be something else, which is worth the wait, and not just some half-cocked jizz balloon. People expect it. Sorry, I am sorry.
Point of clarification.
Is it a balloon made of?
I think what's happened is it's a balloon that is blown up, then it's covered in a film of jizz, whereupon it dries and hardens, and then the balloon is simply, well, I wouldn't pop it, but I just release the gas. And you're left with a balloon of stuff.
It's human paper mache.
Yeah, very much so. Come on.
Building on camaraderie, since we're all
It's the Commonwealth.
Does anyone else on the panel have any friends that are in the industry as well that you run around with and pal around with? No, just Nick and Simon, that's it? Anyone that you've worked with in the past or is also in the industry? I mean, I find that actors tend to work enough in the field that they tend to gravitate towards each other as friends as well, because there's a sense of protection in what you do, and they know what you're going through, they know the struggle, and I was just wondering if anybody else has friends like that.
Well, with sci-fi stuff, it's really lovely because you end up sort of all kind of get all these little disparate groups, and you all kind of end up doing this and kind of moving from different shows, and so you end up seeing the same people all the time, and you end up getting a great camaraderie.
Well, there's a running joke about Vancouver that all the actors live in the same apartment complex, because you're seen in every sci-fi show together. Yeah, cool. It's confirmed here. Bring your folks.
Everyone lives in the same one. You often have bunk beds.
John, do you have any pals in the industry that are close to you?
I've been lucky, like, you know, almost every production I've worked on, I love the cast, I love the people. But I guess for me, it's almost like, it's like work friends in that, you know, you see them, you go every day. I haven't done a lot of television, but I've done, you know, the movies I've done, it's you know, anywhere from a month to 3 months, you're seeing them every day and you're working with them all day long, and so you build that relationship. And it's like a work relationship, but it's a friendship too.
Sure.
And you get to know each other, you talk about everything, and we have a blast, and then, you know, the movie's over, and unfortunately, in the world of films, then it's like you'll come across them and stuff, and sometimes but it also depends on the person. I'm very much a homebody, so I like, you know, I'll keep in contact with people like through maybe a text or an email here or there, and I could be way better, is what they tell me. But I love working with people. You know, I'm always like, what can we do? And you almost have that at the end of a production. Oh, we got to come up with this and that, and we could do this, and then you have to see it through. But But I've loved all of my castmates.
I'd just like to ask because in a friendship that I have with someone that worked on a show called Battlestar Galactica, his name's Aaron Douglas. He's really close friends with a country music singer named Brad Paisley. So it's really interesting to see the two of them hang out together as friends when they come from such two very different entertainment worlds. And so I just didn't know, like, in mentioning your friendship and your business partnership with Simon, if you had other like friendships out there in the industry that people might be surprised to learn or hear about. I'm trying to dig a little deeper than a balloon. Hi, Ian. Any friends? One or two?
I'm still friends with all the cast from 90210. We worked
Oh,
for 10
okay.
years, just about every day, and very formative years. So, kind of like brothers.
How's Shannon? I love her. She's so pretty.
She's awesome.
And a fighter. She beat cancer.
Yeah, she's doing great. Everyone's doing great. But now in my life, I've got two, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, so I'm like full dad mode. You know,
You don't hang out with Alaska, the drag queen from your film? This is hurting
funny,
you.
I don't know. We don't really travel in the same circles.
Gosh, but congratulations on daddyhood. That's super cool.
Yeah. But like all my friends now are pretty much dads, and we do dad things. It's completely boring compared to. Well, no, it's not boring.
It's not boring.
It's a life before wife and kids was fun.
Mm-hmm. I love that hesitation.
And I've traded that fun for joy. And it's
But with no fun.
no, there's some fun, not that kind of fun.
I'm a dad, I get it.
But it's a welcome trade-off, and life is more joyful.
That's so beautifully said. It's nice. Somebody else have a question? Whose turn is it? Lou? Yeah.
So remember when we stop
Cool, what's up?
I have a question for Nick. I would like you to rank Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and Paul.
You would like me to rank?
Rank them, 1 through 3.
What is your criteria?
Top grossing.
Best, favorite.
Best, okay, let's do it in terms of most fun we had on set. So what are the 3 films?
Hot Fuzz.
Shaun of the Dead,
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz, and Paul.
Okay, so in 3rd place is Shaun of the Dead. Only because it was like the 4th acting job I'd ever done, and I was terrified of it, and it felt really serious, and I was frightened of it, and it was no fun, and every day was just terror, terror and diarrhea. So then number 2 was Hot Fuzz, because that was an amazing hot summer, and we all got to hang out together in this little town in the southwest of the country and drink wine and watch sunsets, which was great. And then best gig was Paul, because we got to live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and hang out as a crew. There were hundreds of us, and I think after a while I got sick of dream catchers. And Shaman, but yeah, Paul was great. One day we were doing a night shoot up in the mountains, and I came out of my trailer, and there was a bear walking through the unit base. Not like a big gay man. I mean, like a brown bear. I hope that helped.
And then a quick question for Ian. Ian?
Yes.
Tara Reid?
Yeah.
That's the whole question.
Sharknado.
Aw, guys, it's been an incredible hour, but we've got to wrap up. No, we don't? Can we have one more?
Can I just say before we go, if that gentleman who wanted to ask his
Yes.
question doesn't want to ask it on a mic in front of people, if you come around here after we go, I'll answer it face to face.
Sure, yeah.
There's a question for you, Nick, though. It might have been for
No,
you.
I'm happy to answer any question for any.
Well, on behalf of DragonCon and all of you amazing fans, I want to thank these guests and thank all of our time that you spent with us. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Are you guys gonna walk the fame after this? You guys gonna get around? Are you done for the day? You have a hat on? No, you're done. You're gonna get on the plane and go home. Like I think, just look in the app for what these guys' schedule is for the rest of the weekend. Love to hang out with you again.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.